First things first, apologies in advance if you hear my computer loading or doing weird things in the background. I've got a job to do. Welcome, Taurus rising, to your September 2024 deep dive through the wisdom and the symbology and teachings of astrology. If deep analytical information astrologically about your rising sign for the month of September is not your jam, I appreciate that. This video may not be for you, but if so, your Cosmic Girl 101 has you covered. It's a busy month. There's a lot going on. We've got eclipse season. We've got a change of season with an equinox. So take it easy. Take a deep breath. There's also changes going on for yourself and changes going on with people around you. So we're going to need to flex and be a little bit more adaptable, a little bit more kind-hearted this month. As a Taurus rising, Venus is your planetary ruler. She's the lord of your chart. She rules your first house. You are a fixed yin earth rising sign. Now let's talk about the slower planetary transits as we open up this video for the month of September for you, Taurus rising. On the 1st of September, Pluto's retrograding back from Aquarius into the sign of Capricorn, and this is your 9th house of expansion through growing, experience and travel, and goes direct on October 11. Uranus is retrograding in Taurus, your first house, and goes direct on January 30, 2025. The other continuing transits in September that haven't changed signs or won't be is Neptune. Neptune's continuing its retrograde in Pisces, your 11th house, and goes direct on December 7. Jupiter transiting in direct motion in the month of September in Gemini, your 2nd house, Jupiter's detriment sign. Jupiter doesn't go retrograde until October. And then Saturn continues its retrograde in Pisces, your 11th house, and goes direct on November 15. So you have Uranus in your first house. Has that been for you, Taurus rising? Feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below this video. Uranus now slowing down, retracing its steps. Only a few degrees, but it is your first house, and your first house is very significant to you because it represents your physical body, your image, your projection to the outside world, how other people see you, and potentially your psychology, your character, the role you're playing. This is your first house, and Uranus has been transiting here for you. So changes going on with you physically, and your image, your title even, is something you can experience when Uranus is changing things up quite dynamically in that first house for you. Now retrograding until January 30, 2025. Now onto the luminary, the moon. The moons this month and the cycles it's making are quite interesting because on the 2nd, we see the very first beginnings of eclipse season begin on the 2nd of September with a new moon in Virgo. This is your 5th house of children, creativity, joy, pleasure, the subjects of children, athletics, sports, a house of fame, a house of investments, gambling. It's the house of intimacy, relationships, partnerships. It's a house of sex. This house is where we get our adrenaline pumping, if you will, and we just feel a lot of joy and we feel connected to life through other people and what we do daily. So a new beginning happening here in that 5th house. It trines your 1st house, so this is favorably impacting you in as much as your body, your image, who you are, how people see you. This looks like a fantastic new beginning that's quite stable. It's going to change and flex over time because the eclipses in Virgo and Pisces that begin in this month are playing out over 3 years, up until February 2027. So new beginnings here that are definitely going to change and adapt, and you're going to be going to need to be able to be flexible in regards to this 5th house and this 11th house, where these eclipses will be playing out for 3 years, Taurus rising. So a lovely new beginning that feels abundant, life-giving, feels very practical, feels very earthy, it feels very right for you. It's match up with your earth sign, being Virgo. Nice new start here for you guys on the 2nd of September. On the 17th, we see a partial full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, your 11th house. So we're talking about your house that is connected to your first house in a sextile aspect, which is nice. It's easier for you. What's easier for you is to recognize a friend having a fantastic moment in the spotlight, or a group or organization you're connected to professionally, a charity, for example, or even people that support you professionally in your career are having their moment in the spotlight. It's a fabulous day on the 17th for recognition, bringing things out into the open that are very Piscean. They're very nurturing, they're very compassionate, they're very emotional. Just looks like a lovely, wow, look at that. That's an amazing day on the 17th of September. The Sun transiting in Virgo, opening up the month, your 5th house of joy and pleasure we've been talking about, continues. And on the 8th, well, before I even get into this, seriously, Taurus rising, when I was preparing these videos for the astrology for the month for all the rising signs, this Sun, which is very much about life force, it's life-giving, it's optimistic, it's joy, it's pretty constant, it's quite strong. Who doesn't like the Sun? It's having a lot of tense aspects this month, so buckle up, where no one gets out of it because of the opposition that the Sun's making and the squares. It's a very interesting month for the Sun. So knowing where the Sun is transiting for you is going to be significant. Taurus rising, and it trines your first house. So there's definitely going to be some impacts to yourself, your physical body, your psychology, and how people see you. Things are changing quite dynamically throughout the month. They're not permanent, but they're enough to make you go, oh, okay. So the first thing that happens with the Sun in a contentious aspect is on the 8th of September, it's opposing retrograde Saturn in Pisces, your 11th house. So your house of joy and pleasure, intimacy, partnership, gambling, children, creativity, sports, investment, the house of sex and pleasure. The Sun is opposing your ally, friendship, group house. So this is being pulled in two directions. Should I play basketball today? Should I stay in bed and have sex all day? Or should I be really helping out with that charity event that I committed to? My friend needs me. I really need to get in contact with that professional person that can help my career. It just looks like a difficult day where someone drops off or isn't really happy with you, enjoying life so much. Just a difficult day on the 8th. On the 12th, the Sun then squares off with Jupiter, which is currently transiting in his 2nd house of finance. So the Sun, Jupiter, now Jupiter, this planet in of itself is quite life-giving, it's quite optimistic, it's quite abundant. So the Sun and Jupiter coming in the square is really odd. It's like, oh, this is weird. Well, what's this? This is over-optimism. This is an ample exacerbation of bravado, if you will. So if your joy and pleasure house is affecting you financially or your resources, take a beat on this day. Take a recheck, recalibrate your checkbook, look at your expenses account. You may be overindulging. Or pleasure pursuits or things of that nature is really pulling on your purse strings. So yeah, watch your money and watch your pleasure. Having too much of one or the other, something's draining out or becoming very obvious on this day. On the 20th, the Sun then opposes retrograde Neptune in your 11th house. So the Sun is opposed to retrograde Neptune, being wishy-washy, indecisive, and not present. So you may be needing some support systems, or you may need support from people, friends, allies, but they're just slipping through your fingers and not available. And it's connected to that house of joy and pleasure, creativity, sports, athletics, investments. So a difficult day to navigate again on the 20th of September. On the 22nd, we see the spring equinox begin in the southern hemisphere, which is Ostara, and we see the beginning of the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, which is Mabon. So we have a change of season. We can see it in our physical worlds around us. We can feel it within ourselves and people around us. We know when a season is changing. So there's change in the air in the month of September, apart from the bloody eclipse and all these oppositions and changes going on with the sun. Well, the same day, the sun then ingresses into Libra, her full position in ancient Hellenistic teachings, your sixth house of work, health, illness, sickness, pets, career, co-workers, services that you connect with, and the physical body and your daily routines. So the sun ingressing here into Libra from the 22nd of September to October 22nd is highlighting those topics. And there's a lot of energy going towards other people. You're putting in the hard yards. You could be doing a lot of heavy lifting in the sixth house, and it can have a lot to do with getting on track of your health, getting that life force back. If you've been feeling lethargic, the sun here will certainly illuminate what it is that's slowing you down. You could be overworked. If you suffer from any mental health issues, take it easy, know what's good for you, draw hard lines in the sand, because that sixth house being connected to sickness and illness, even though the sun is transiting here, it's in its full position. So that you may be overlooking health issues or overworking yourself. So take it easy, know your limits when the sun is transiting here in its full position of Libra up until October 22nd. On the 30th, the sun then conjuncts Mercury. Now, the sun-Mercury conjunction is like a metaphor for, oh my goodness, I now see, I now know, I understand, something lands. This could be a contract, communication, information, a conversation that really does seem to be connected to the topics of the sixth house. So a change of direction, changes in thought, changes in ideologies, things changing up in those sixth house topics is highlighted on the 30th of September. Mercury, our personal planet. Well, Mercury is transiting in Leo, your fourth house, and up until the 9th of September. Mercury now on the 9th ingresses into Virgo, your fifth house of joy and pleasure. Now, Mercury is in its exaltation position and domicile position. It loves being in the zodiac sign of Virgo. It likes details, it likes data, it likes analytics, it likes getting on top of anything to do with health. It wants to purify, it wants to clean, it wants to cleanse. It wants things just so and can be very picky. So when you've got Mercury transiting in that fifth house of joy and pleasure, you could be pinpointing what's working and what's not, connected to that joy that you feel, that adrenaline that you feel. This is where you get down to the deets when Mercury is transiting in that fifth house. Now it's sixth house, your first house, so I think this will be an easier transit for you to navigate any nuances connected with joy and pleasure for you. On the 18th, Mercury then opposes retrograde Saturn in your 11th house. So Mercury is frustrated, if you will, in your house of joy and pleasure with things slowing down, being withdrawn from friends, allies, groups that you're usually connected with. So a partner could be pulling you away, or an investment or project that you're working on. Children, the topic of children or your children could be pulling you away, or there could be trouble with groups and organisations as well on this day. Difficult on the 18th. The 25th, it's not much different. The Mercury then in your fifth house of joy and pleasure opposes retrograde Neptune. Allies, friends, things falling through your fingers, not having details clarified, information's not stable enough. Just a difficult day to navigate on the 25th. The 26th, we see Mercury then ingress into the sign of Libra, your sixth house of the daily grind, up until October 13th. So now Mercury is stepping into your house of wellness, your house of the daily grind, career, co-workers, services you're connected to, services you provide to other people, your house of hygiene, your own personal health and fitness. Mercury here in Libra will provide solutions, create more balance, create more harmony in the sixth house. So a nicer transit when Mercury is transiting in your 6th house, opposed to that Sun in the 4th position in Libra. Mars, our personal planet of action. It's been transiting in Gemini, your 2nd house, and on the 3rd squares off with retrograde Neptune in your 11th house. A loss of finance, a loss of clarity about resources, a loss of assets, or trying to create some clarity around assets connected to friends, groups, allies, and even your dreams and goals and aspirations for the future. That future plan that you have for yourself on a trip, for example, or that bars seems distant or difficult to make a reality on this day. Difficult. Then Mars on the 4th of September ingresses into Cancer, its 4th position traditionally through ancient Hellenistic astrological teachings, until November 3rd. And this is your 3rd house of the day-to-day. 3rd house sextiles your 1st house, easier for you to navigate and move through. But Mars is in its 4th position, so Mars is very aware of being hyperprotective, very aware that it's not really interested in emotional information or communication, just wants to get a job done, just wants things to move and take action. But in the sign of Cancer, Mars has to be a little bit more deliberate and aware that there are emotional repercussions from not taking its time. So Mars transiting in that 3rd house of short distance travel, vehicles, communication, reading, writing, siblings, cousins, anything to do that's habitual to you, familiar to you. Mars bulldozing here can create a lot of conflict and separation. Forewarned is forearmed. It may be a difficult transit, even though it's sextiles your 1st house, it may be easier for you to get into conflict or conversations with siblings and cousins or your immediate environment, for example. Difficult. We're all in it. But for you, your 1st, 3rd house, could be some changes or volatility going on there. On the 30th of September, Mars trines retrograde Saturn in Pisces, your 11th house. Finally, Taurus rising, we get a trine to retrograde Saturn in your 11th house of beneficiaries that support your career, allies, friends, dreams, goals, aspirations for your future, charitable groups that you may be connected to. Mars is trining it. So this is where informational communication lands. Things become a little bit more easier, not so restrictive or withheld. So it feels that something that you've been working on really hard for or waiting for lands, comes together easily on the 30th of September. Great day. Now on to Venus, your ruling planet. She rules your 1st house. She is the lord of your chart. Opening up the month of September is continuing her transit in Libra, her domicile sign, your 6th house of the daily grind, which we've been talking about. On the 5th of September, your ruling planet conjuncts the moon. I love this. This is a great day, Taurus rising. Feeling good in the body. You could be starting something new in your career or with co-workers. This just feels like a day of feeling organic with yourself, feeling confident. I'd mark this down in your calendar. It looks great. If you want to ask anything in a professional capacity through career or your co-workers that you may need to discuss, anything financial, for example, create cohesion, this is the day to do it on the 5th of September. Fabulous day. On the 15th, your ruling planet Venus then trines Jupiter in Gemini, your 2nd house. So lovely. The two benefics are trining one another. It's easier to build security and wealth connected to career, your services, and feeling better in the body. Just a fabulous day again on the 15th of September. Then on the 22nd, your ruling planet Venus squares off with Pluto in your 9th house. 6th, 9th house square. Something that you want to grow and expand, be it physically or mentally, is held back by Pluto. There's a restriction, there's a no. Something needs to be sorted before you can move forward confidently connected to your career, services, your physical body, anything to do with fitness. It's a difficult day to navigate on the 22nd. It's like Pluto says, you cannot move forward till you get on top of the day-to-day. You need to iron out nuances with your career or your co-workers first. Understand the services that are needed before you can open up. So, yeah, to navigate this day will be tricky for all of us, but yours is your 6th and 9th house being activated here. And your ruling planet, no doubt, standing off and squaring off with Pluto retrograde. Ouch. Then, on the same day, Venus, the ruling planet, ingresses into Scorpio, its detriment sign. Why? Because this is Mars' sign. Venus and Mars are opposites. So this transit lasts until October 17, and this is your 7th house of intimacy, relationship, be it professional or romantic. It's a house of endings. It's a house of rest where we rest and we end everything at the end of the day. We've done our hard work. We've done a hard work day, for example, and then we get to rest. We get to enjoy the sunset, for example. This house is to do with agreements, contracts, and negotiations. It's where we put a ring on it. We shake hands, we agree, and we sign on the dotted line. We anchor in and commit with people and integrate with people because we find value in their connection. So when you have Venus in that passionate, fixed, watery sign of Scorpio, transiting from the 22nd of September to the 17th of October in your relationship house, again, be it professional or otherwise, or endings and joy and relaxing, this could be difficult to have those real deep, profound conversations with people about agreements and contracts. And the 7th house opposes your 1st house. So your ruling planet that rules your 1st house, the body, your image, your psychology, how people see you, is all the way over across the way, if you will, in the astrological wheel, in the 7th house, opposing your 1st house. Your ruling planet opposing your 1st house. So what does this mean? There's a lot of energy going towards other people. You're seen as someone that is very socially connected and intimately connected with other people. You're fixated. You're just trying to create some sort of passionate connection with a contract or a relationship or a partnership. You're trying to establish more concrete paths forward with people. So an interesting transit when your ruling planet is transiting in that 7th house, Taurus rising. Thank you for tuning in, Taurus rising. I trust you have a fabulous month of September 2024. There's a lot to process here in this video. I understand and appreciate that. I've done all the heavy lifting for you, and I hope you get some value here today. If you do like the content, please consider hitting that bell notification to stay updated with the videos I post here on Cosmic Girl 101 YouTube channel. Please consider liking the video, sharing the video, and subscribing if you haven't done already. I do appreciate it. Here we go. September's very changeable. There's a lot going on with you and a lot going on with people around you. So take it easy. Things are changing and flexing and moving in different directions. You've got this, Taurus rising. Until next video, I'll catch you next time. I'm your Cosmic Girl 101.